Welcome back everyone, this will be my new She-Hulk, World War Hulk, and Thunderbolts video about how Marvel is using She-Hulk to set up these future projects and storylines. A lot of you spotted some of the Easter eggs and the teasers where they were trying to set that up in the background during episode 1, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. I will be doing videos for all the episodes. We're doing a giveaway for Disney Plus memberships. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and just post all your theories about Thunderbolts and World War Hulk on the video.
There's a few Easter eggs in this thing that kind of led us down to believe the World War Hulk storyline. Are you up for a solo Hulk movie?
Anytime they want to do it, I'm here.
Kevin has obviously revealed that all this is going to kind of end in Avengers Secret War. How do you think this will compare to Endgame? What do you think? What can you tell us? What can you tease us with?
Well, it's going to be hard to top Endgame, but if I know Kevin and I know Marvel, it's going to be pretty amazing. It'll be a big bang. Yeah. We'll go out with a big bang.
All the Marvel Disney Plus shows are intended to help set up some of the future movies and future arcs for multiple characters just in general. Like, all of them are meant to feed into the future movies. Really good example is WandaVision was meant to set up Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. Moon Knight was meant to help set up Werewolf by Night, which we'll be seeing this Halloween, even though we haven't had a trailer yet. The Blade movie, Midnight Suns, the more mystical, darker characters in the MCU just in general. The She-Hulk series is no different. It's not just about doing her origin story and her eventually crossing over with Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. There's a whole lot of other stuff they're setting up in the background, not just episode 1. Some of it was very obvious, some of it was less obvious. There'll be more scenes like that setting up future movies and later episodes too, including the future of Bruce Banner's Hulk storyline across Avengers 5, Kang Dynasty, Avengers 6, Secret Wars, and even before that, the Thunderbolts movie, which we actually just found out is meant to be the end of Marvel Phase 5 officially. Rewind to the events of The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. During episode 1, there were a couple references to the events of this movie. It's important because it's like the last major movie where we saw Thunderbolt Ross like really going up against the Hulk himself. Now, he kind of referenced him during Captain America Civil War, but like the last big movie that we had where they're going at each other legit is during the Incredible Hulk movie. During Avengers Endgame, they were both in the movie, but they were both at the funeral. They weren't really going at each other. A really good example of the references to Incredible Hulk are Bruce Banner making this huge deal about incinerating the She-Hulk's blood samples to prevent anyone from using them to create more Hulks. That was also meant to be a bit of a joke about the Stan Lee cameo scene in Incredible Hulk where he gets dosed with Hulk's blood because of the soda. But also during that movie, the leader was using samples of his blood to try and recreate his powers, eventually using the process to create the Abomination as we see him, even though his look has evolved over time. Like, obviously he looks very different than he did during Incredible Hulk.
What do you mean my blood?
Bruce, this is all you. You didn't send me much to work with, so I had to concentrate it and make more. There's no end to what we can do.
He even accidentally turned himself into a more comic book accurate version of the leader. And Kevin Feige said that he's still alive out there somewhere until we see him again. Originally, in that movie, Thunderbolt Ross had said that when Bruce Banner had his initial Gamma accident, became the Hulk for the first time, he had lied to him when he signed on to the project. Thunderbolt Ross told him that he was going to create this new beneficial thing, like it was going to be for the betterment of mankind, but secretly, Thunderbolt Ross revealed to Abomination that he was actually having him work on the Weapons Plus program. The Hulk was basically like the next iteration of the Weapons Plus. Weapons Plus is like the larger name given to the military's super soldier program, so like Captain America was Weapon 1. Isaiah Bradley, for example, who became a version of Captain America after him, would be like Weapon 2. Wolverine, for example, people call him Weapon X. Technically, the X stands for Roman numeral 10, so he'd be like Weapon 10. Technically, because of what he was working on, the Hulk is also part of that Weapons Plus program. There are even some deleted scenes during that movie with Red Hulk Easter eggs where Thunderbolt Ross was trying to set up the character in future sequels. Originally, the Incredible Hulk movie was going to be a trilogy of movies.
And for our nation, and for our way of life, I intend to put a harness around it.
Typically what Marvel does is when they have really cool twists or deleted scenes like that with cool plots that wind up just not making it into the final cuts, is they'll just bring them back in future films. Like, oh, we'll just use a version of this twist in a future movie or future storyline. The Grey Hulk is another good example in Avengers Age of Ultron. When they were trying to create the Hulk versus Iron Man fight in Avengers Age of Ultron, they pushed the special effects so hard, like they made him look so crazy that he started to look like Grey Hulk, and they're like, you know what, we'll dial that back, and you can use Grey Hulk in a future movie if you ever want to. During the recent episode of She-Hulk, they filled in a lot of missing backstory and details about what Hulk had been doing the past couple of years since Avengers Endgame, how he was able to become Smart Hulk in this laboratory, balancing his two halves, and how he was able to heal his arm after using Iron Man's Infinity Gauntlet. The funny thing about that is that when Avengers Endgame actually came out in theaters, the Russos said that his arm would never heal. So that should give you an idea for how sometimes the directors of Marvel movies, the writers, and Kevin Feige, the other producers, won't all agree on what's canon and what's not canon. That's why when you ask the directors a question, they might give you a different answer than someone like the writers. They also established that just because Jennifer Walters' blood was contaminated with Hulk's gamma blood and she became She-Hulk, just because she's another Hulk doesn't mean that the gamma in her body causes the exact same effects. That was to set up the concept that her powers, the way her Hulk forms work, won't be exactly like Bruce Banner's Hulk forms. And when I say Hulk forms, that just means every single possible version of the Hulk that they could become and what their powers would be. They do share some of the same powers, like the power scale the same way based on their rage, so with each one, the madder they get, the stronger they get. But that's just to explain how her full Hulk form, like Savage She-Hulk, will be different from his full Hulk form, like World Breaker Hulk. During the scene where you see Hulk versus She-Hulk fight, it's super quick, but for just a brief second, he starts to lose control. He's still holding back, like you can tell that he still has some control. He's not trying to kill her or anything, he's just trying to teach her a lesson, not smash her into a fine paste. But for just a brief second, he starts to lose it, like he's on the edge of control. And earlier they had this conversation about how hard it was for him to deal with his trauma as a child, balancing his two personas, whereas Jennifer Walters doesn't have some of the same violent trauma from her childhood that he had. But they are trying to let you know through a lot of these scenes that she will eventually lose control and he will eventually lose control. That's what the whole scene about her not thinking that she had an alternate persona was about. Like, I don't think that I have one. Like, oh yeah, you definitely have one. We just haven't met her yet. Her name is the Savage She-Hulk. And on the other side of that, the Hulk losing control, becoming a version of World Breaker Hulk. That's where you get to World War Hulk in the Thunderbolts movie. The spaceship from Sakaar had a secret message just for him. That's plot that they'll pay off eventually too. It might have something to do with this World War Hulk storyline, World Breaker Hulk, him just losing control, him becoming so angry that eventually the rest of the world, both the Avengers and the Thunderbolts, will have to take him down. But I think it's also meant to help seed his plot into Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 Secret Wars as well, like further on. Marvel's supposed to get the full rights to the Hulk movies back next year. There's not a Hulk movie on the Marvel Phase 5 schedule because they can't even start talking about making a new Hulk movie until they get the rights back. So like in 2023, then they can actually sit down and say, you know what, we should do a Hulk movie. Kevin Feige clarified it was the same situation when they knew that they were going to get the rights to the X-Men back in 2019. That was around when Avengers Endgame was coming out, but their Fox deal didn't close till a little bit after that. They couldn't actually sit down and start talking about doing a new version of the X-Men until after the deal had actually cleared. So even though they don't have time in the schedule to actually do a solo Hulk movie for a couple more years, they can do a World War Hulk style plotline across Thunderbolts, Avengers 5, even Avengers 6 Secret Wars, which has basically been their way of doing Hulk arcs without doing a legit solo Hulk movie for the past several years. Just spread his storyline across a couple movies. They do have the rights to do Hulk TV shows though, that's how they're able to do the She-Hulk series. Getting to the Thunderbolts of it all, so She-Hulk also meant to help set up the Abomination joining the Thunderbolts. He's sort of like the version of the Hulk on the team because they're kind of like a dark version of the Avengers. There is a Dark Avengers team in the comics, but because they put Thunderbolts literally on the board as a Marvel Phase 5 movie, I think they're just going with the Thunderbolts, and if they use the Dark Avengers, it'll just be something that they call the Thunderbolts team in the movie. And now, based on what's happened in the Marvel movies and in real life the last couple of years, I think it's a foregone conclusion that Val will take any of the storyline that Thunderbolt Ross might have had previously before William Hurt passed away. So if they don't recast Thunderbolt Ross, for example, Red Hulk would have to be a completely different character. There have been other Red Hulks in the comics, so it's not a really huge deal, but all the different Val cameo scenes now where she's recruiting people that we've seen have been her recruiting the Thunderbolts team. Also, a lot of you will remember that the Thunderbolts' first appearance was inside an Incredible Hulk comic book, so here's the Hulk connection to the Thunderbolts team. The early theory is that one of the Thunderbolts' missions, like one of the big reasons that they all come together, will be to take down a version of the Hulk. Val implied that there's going to be missions that they go on that they can't rely on the Avengers or the new version of Falcon Captain America on, and that would be to either take down or kill the Hulk. Like everybody's buddies with the Hulk, they're not going to kill their buddy. It's sort of like a Captain America Civil War, Bucky Captain America situation. He's my friend, like they caused Civil War because he would not take down his friend. World War Hulk is basically like the version of that with the Hulk at the center of it. And I think that whole Easter egg with She-Hulk's blood, healing Hulk's arm so quickly, healing his body so quickly, is them trying to set up the concept that the new Avengers can use She-Hulk to eventually save the Bruce Banner Hulk when he does lose control and go full World Breaker Hulk. But if you spotted any other World Breaker Hulk or World War Hulk or Thunderbolts Easter eggs during episode 1, just write them below in the comments. We'll see more Easter eggs for this stuff in the future episodes. There are 9 episodes total, so this is just the beginning. But like I said, the series is meant to help set up a bunch of future movies and a bunch of other storyline. We just got a brand new She-Hulk trailer with a bunch of new Daredevil in it, so I might do a video for that next. Also, big reminder, House of the Dragon episode 1 is starting tomorrow. I will be doing videos for that just like I did for the main series. Everyone click here for my full She-Hulk episode 1 video, and click here for my House of the Dragon episode 1 video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.